Welcome back to this week's Messiah Minutes. I thank you for joining us. I ask that you continue to like this and share this. And again, just appreciate all of you and all your encouragement and all the nice things that you've said about this. And just want to keep it going and hope that we keep learning together. A couple announcements before we get started here. The food pantry is tonight. So please come out, support that. It starts at 4, I believe. So come out and be a part of that. If you need food, come and get some. We also have youth. It's tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. Thank you, those who've been signing up for meals. We still need some more meals. I think we have September covered, but October is looking a little bleak. So if you can sign up for meals for the youth, that would be great. They're back in school, and you know, we're expecting around 40 probably tomorrow night. So thank you, those that have supported that. And then tomorrow night, instead of our adult midweek service here at the church, we're encouraging you to go to West Liberty. Go to the West Liberty First Church of God's tent meeting that's happening there at the park in West Liberty and go support that. We also have this Saturday night, the Faith and Friends concert is happening here at the church. The doors will open at 5. The show starts at 6, and it's going to be $15 a ticket at the door if you want to come enjoy a nice concert this Saturday. Join us Sunday morning. Pastor Claude is going to continue preaching, our interim pastor, so please join us Sunday morning. We hope to see you for that. We also have Life Recovery starting on Tuesday the 16th at 6:30 in the gym here. And then we have a pickleball tournament coming up on the 28th. And that starts at 4 on the 28th. And see Abby if you'd like to sign up for that. So first off, let me just thank Pastor Claude Robold for his wonderful message this past Sunday. I really liked the barbecue first stupid line from his message. It might be my favorite quote from his sermon, because I think that's often how God speaks to me, and I always appreciate that because I need it. We talked about it a little bit. I often think in one perspective. It's hard for me to think differently about things because, like what we've talked about, I tend to always think that I'm right. But I love it when God calls me on that and says, well, do it differently, stupid. I love that. I love that he's saying, hey, if it's not working one way, then find another way that it will work. It kind of relates to some of the things we've been talking about on these Messiah Minutes. If what we're doing isn't working, then let's change it. Why do we keep doing it? Let's start living with this divine power that demolishes strongholds. Let's start taking our thoughts captive and living directly connected to the vine and that power that he provides. So Pastor Claude had a great message for us. A great reminder to all of us that we're supposed to be seed planters, and we all have a job to do. I want to thank him personally for sharing that message. Thank you, Pastor. Thank you for the book, for challenging us to share it. I'm excited to plant seeds. I'm excited for you to be our interim pastor, but I'm excited for where this church is going. I'm excited for this transitional time. So thank you for that. Let's get back into 2 Corinthians 10:3-5. For though we live in the world, we do not wage war as the world does. The weapons we fight with are not the weapons of the world. On the contrary, they have divine power to demolish strongholds. We demolish arguments and every pretension that sets itself up against the knowledge of God, and we take captive every thought to make it obedient to Christ. So last week we started talking about our output compared to our input. So if we change the things that we are putting in, it will inevitably change what is going out. So if we change the input, we automatically change the output. We went through some different scenarios, how if you want to be a certain way, whether that be more patient, more humble, more holy, you need to examine what you're putting in. And if it's something you're putting in that's fighting against that, it's going to be very difficult for you to change. Your input is what will come out in your life, one way or the other. What goes in will always come out. What you're exposed to shapes your thoughts, and your thoughts shape your life. We've talked about that. So I encouraged you last week to start keeping a thought and an input journal. I hope that you've started that. I hope that you've started that journal. I hope that you are diligent in keeping it. Let's talk this week about the input in our lives that enters through our ears, what we're listening to, and how what we're listening to is setting us up to use divine power that demolishes strongholds, or it's not. Because if it isn't setting us up for victory, then what is it doing in our lives, and why are we listening to it? If everything about our thoughts is molding us, and as Paul says, we either get to be conformed or transformed in this world, then nothing is more important than understanding why we have certain thoughts in our mind, why we're thinking certain things, and what influence they have on us. You are most likely underestimating the impact of what you're listening to. I know that I definitely was. Christians tend to be very naive to this factor. Because we're naive about it, we leave ourselves unguarded. The enemy is kind of using this unlocked and unguarded gate to enter into our thoughts and to change our thought patterns for one purpose, and it's to steer you away from God, to keep you away from Him and His correct and His righteous thoughts and His thought patterns. The enemy is using that gate to steer you away. So I want you to think about the word listen, the word hear, and understand that it appears more than 30 times in the book of Proverbs. Solomon is constantly telling us, he's constantly warning us, instructing us to pay attention and to be careful about what we listen to. Remember, King Solomon is known for being the wisest man whom ever lived. And he's constantly telling us to be careful about what we're listening to. Proverbs 4:20 through 22 says, "My son, pay attention to what I say. Turn your ear to my words. Do not let them out of your sight. Keep them within your heart, for they are life to those who find them and health to one's whole body." Solomon's and Jesus's emphasis on selective and attentive listening led early Christians to coin the phrase, it's not talked about much anymore, but it was talked about back then, that says it's called guarding the ear gate. And it kind of describes this practice of just protecting one's mind and one's heart from harmful influences, right? Guarding one's ear gate is like a spiritual discipline that involves choosing wisely what you listen to, choosing wisely what you hear, avoiding ungodly conversations, gossip, and media that promote sin. Fill your mind with positive things instead. Focus on what is true, what is noble, what is pure, and what Paul instructs us to in Philippians. And we're supposed to be listening to life-giving wisdom, seeking words of faith and hope that build you up and align our lives and our hearts with God's word. So in kind of a modern context, guarding the ear gate means being selective about the information, the media, the conversations you consume, in order to protect your heart and your mind from negative and ungodly influences. We have this tendency to think it really doesn't matter what we listen to. I can listen to a certain type of music or talk radio or this comedian. I'm not singing the songs. I'm not telling the jokes. So technically, I'm not really doing anything. Well, technically, you are right. You're not doing anything. But that doesn't mean that something isn't being done to you. Music can greatly impact your thinking. I want you to understand that. Research has proven that music can improve your health or lead to illness. It's proven that music can help with depression or it can worsen depression. It can be used to influence your spending. It can change your productivity. It can alter your perceptions of the world. It has also been shown that music can make you more aggressive and can encourage you to commit crimes. It's been proven in some instances that listening to music can significantly lower your anxiety more than even taking an anxiety medication can. Pay attention to what you listen to. Not just music, but podcasts, talk radio, sports radio, other people's perspectives, even those people that are closest to you. And be careful about the things that you're hearing yourself say as well. Sometimes we can be our own worst enemy. I know that's a lot. It's a lot to throw out there. It's a lot of different ideas, a lot of different things. So I want to encourage you. I wanted to help you with some other ideas, some things that you can try to do to help. I want you to think about controlling your playlist. Intentionally choose music that you listen to that's encouraging, uplifting, that honors God, rather than filling your mind with songs that promote despair, lust, or violence. I encourage you to start selecting podcasts and audiobooks carefully, filtering out different content that is critical, ungodly, full of gossip. Instead, choose content that provides wisdom, encouragement, and useful knowledge. I want you to start being discerning with your news that you're watching and your current events. Stay informed. That's great. You should stay informed, but don't obsessively consume news that just causes anxiety and fear. This involves setting like a healthy limit and choosing a trusted, balanced sources rather than overdosing on information that doesn't infuse your heart and your mind with God's peace. The other thing I want you to do is start managing your conversations and your relationships. I know it's hard. Avoiding gossip is tough. It's really tough because it's everywhere. I want you to start actively walking away from conversations where people are speaking negatively about others. Listening to gossiping words can plant bitterness and division in your heart, just hearing them. I want you to start choosing uplifting friends. Surround yourself with friends who speak life, hope, and biblical truth into your life. In contrast, you might actually have to distance yourself from toxic relationships with people who constantly criticize or tear others down. And I want you to start contesting negativity in your life. When confronted with negative or faithless talk, you can counter it by declaring God's promises instead of letting doubt and unbelief pass into your heart unchallenged. Remember, you're supposed to be guarding it. I want you to protect your mental and your spiritual space. Be mindful of your social media use. Kind of curate your social media feed to follow accounts that inspire you, educate you, encourage you, rather than spending time on platforms that expose you to hateful speech, arguments, or envy. I want you to try to limit your background noise in your life. Be mindful of what's playing in the background. Whether it's a radio, a podcast, TV, these inputs can subtly influence your thoughts and emotions over time. And I want you to set boundaries. When someone starts to vent negativity or engage in a toxic conversation, you can politely but firmly change the subject, or you can end the conversation. You don't have to allow verbal sewage to corrupt your own spirit. I know it's challenging stuff. It's challenging for me. That's why I'm teaching it, because I'm convicted by it. But I pray that you try it. As Pastor Claude said this weekend, and it's really stuck with me, barbecue first, stupid. That's a genius thing to say because it's true. If what we're doing isn't working, then try something else. There's nothing stopping you from trying some of this stuff. So try that. Try that. Try changing some of the things you listen to and see if it changes the things that you're putting out into the world and it changes your attitude. I hope that you do. I thank you for tuning in this week. I love you. I appreciate you all. And please join us next week.